State representatives and local groups in Huntsville are calling for Mayor Tommy Battle and Police Chief Mark McMurray to take back their statements in support of a Huntsville police officer convicted of murder. Our Kelly Kennedy went to a press conference held by the Rosa Parks Committee today. She has the details.
Leaders in Huntsville are speaking out against the city's response to Huntsville police officer William Darby's murder conviction. They say the message the mayor and the police chief are sending to the community is the wrong one.
We find it horribly unconscionable that a convicted murderer would be affirmed, especially in light of the details of the murder itself.
The very individuals that's supposed to enforce the laws are now questioning our justice system.
Last week, Darby was found guilty of murder in the shooting death of Jeffrey Parker in 2018. Darby plans to appeal. Moments after the verdict was read, Huntsville Mayor Tommy Battle released a statement saying Darby, quote, was doing what he was trained to do. The Rosa Parks Committee says they had a meeting with Mayor Battle yesterday, asking him to recant his original statement. After their meeting, they say the mayor sent them a revised statement.
He said, and I quote, "I respect the decision of the jury. I respect Officer Darby's right to appeal," unquote.
The group's also raising concerns of Police Chief McMurray's continued employment, reflecting back on his actions during the BLM protests in June last year.
We need someone leading this community in that department that's going to be inclusive, that's not going to be reactive in doubling down and creating an adversarial relationship.
As communities call for police reform across the nation, local groups say this case further shows the importance of mental health training. Jeffrey Parker was suicidal when he was shot and killed by Officer Darby.
I do think that we got to put more resources with our law enforcement to help some of our officers get more in-depth training in mental health. But also, we got to make certain that the salaries are appealing.
They say they plan to have another meeting with Mayor Battle to further discuss the situation. As of today, Police Chief Mark McMurray is still employed. Putting the Valley first, Kelly Kennedy, WZDX News.